I'm your host, Janice Matwi, and this is A Sit at the Table. A Sit at the Table delves into the intricacies of professional skills and emotional intelligence, offering insights on how you can thrive in the present and ensure long-term relevance. Serving as a gateway to mastering today's evolving professional and business landscape, our focus is to equip audiences with the necessary tools that ensure they thrive in the present, but also secure enduring relevance in the future. So join us, like and subscribe, A Sit at the Table, only on YouTube.
My name is Simunza Muyangana. I am Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at BongoHive, which is an innovation and technology hub in Lusaka, Zambia. What we do is we support entrepreneurs, corporations, and other individuals who are trying to create new solutions that we hope will change the world. And we do this by hosting a couple of things like programs that support entrepreneurs, workshops or interventions that help corporations to think new through new products and services with the aim of releasing products that Africans will love, and working with corporations once again to actually build out those products. I think getting into the process of innovation and entrepreneurship was an evolution that came from my history of work, having worked in technology, and initially having worked outside Zambia and returning to a place where I think I was curious about what we could do as Zambians to get to a place where we were building solutions of our own, or taking advantage of technology actually to build solutions of our own. I was very fortunate to meet my current business partners, Lukonga and Slumesi, and through the process of us having conversations and caring about what we saw as people graduating from college and coming into the workforce, the delta between what they needed to learn with regards to what they had learned in college and what they needed to do to be able to get work done was something that we were curious about and wanted to address. We initially started off with hosting weekend classes, free weekend classes, in which we would teach what we knew with regards to technology. That evolved into teaching people to develop Android apps, which later evolved to people asking questions with regards to how they could create businesses out of that. We formalized the process, created what we now call BongoHive, and we've been around for 13 years now. To build startups, I think there's a general set of qualities that people need to have. And I think first and foremost, it's an empathy for people around them or businesses around them, being able to notice or have an eye for what could be better. So you take your interactions within a business and then you say processes could be better, and in looking at what processes could be better, you see how you could, with a technology, make things faster, make things cheaper, or make the experience a better quality. With human beings, it could be something similar. You could say that you're looking at whether people want products or whether people want services that actually change their lives in the process. And once again, it could be how you're improving their lives, or how you're making things more affordable for them, or what are you doing that actually makes them feel that they are actually getting into something that they find value. And actually that's the point. If you're a leader who actually sees where value could be applied, that's a key thing. The second thing that then comes into question is then with empathy, you get to know whether people actually want what you want, what you're going to offer. But then the next question that's going to come around is, can you actually build it? And that's a key thing. Can you actually bring people together to help you build it? Because the possibility that you're going to do it on your own is is near close to zero. So who can you bring about to join you in the journey, or this vision that you've set for how you want to change people's lives, or how you want to change businesses, or how you want to change the world? then can you attract people to that vision who want to work with you in building that thing, and that's what you call your team. Then finally, can you sell it? Can you actually go out there and tell people that if they buy this thing that you're building, that they are actually going to, they can actually see the value, and they can actually see the gains. And those gains could be different, as we've discussed already. So those are the things I would look for in leaders who are trying to build startups. The challenges are common not only towards Zambia but across the world. First and foremost, it's, do you know what you know, and do you know what you don't know? And if you, in the sense that if you think that you can build something, how much do you know about it? How much do you know about the people that could potentially, whose challenge you're trying to address, or whose solution, or who you're trying to provide a solution to? And if you don't know much, who can you work with to actually address the gaps of what you don't know? That then helps you to figure out things like how acute is the problem that these people are facing, that they're then willing to say, yes, I'll pay X amount of money for you to help my company to do this, or to help my life to get better, or to help my children achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. When you've got that, then the question that you're asking yourself then is, what's the market size? So if you're thinking ambitiously, the question you're asking yourself is, how big a market size do you need to get to the point where you say that you're building a viable company, or a viable company? And once you've got that answered, that's what helps you to now address the question that everybody first of all rushes to, which is, how much money do I need to now build the company to be able to do that? Because the moment you start talking to investors, the key question that they're going to ask themselves is, how are they going to get a return on the money that they've invested in your company? And your ability to explain that is going to come out of a factor of, this is the demand that I believe is going to be there, and this is the market size that we can address by being able to do that. And if we do a multiplication of demand versus market size, we believe that we can get this share within the market, and by selling this product over and over again, then we will be able to make back the money and pay you back, or we will be able to create value together and create money together. So I know that most people try to start off with, like, the challenge is the money, but the reason why you cannot get the money sometimes is that, are you actually putting the pieces together that explain how somebody's not going to be risking their money, putting their money into you, and that they're actually going to get a return. Oh, that's a tricky one. So, a lot of entrepreneurs do ask for mentorship and do need mentorship, and I think we try to limit it to those who are starting. I still need mentorship. And I still meet a lot of people, and I do get coaching in the process. But I think the key thing is, first of all, it's accountability. So when I approach or work with entrepreneurs, I think the first thing is trying to understand and help them figure out what it is that they're actually trying to address. So we tend to talk about, at BongoHive, being in love with the problem and not in love with the solution that you're creating. So if I'm trying to help mothers who are concerned about what their children are doing during the holidays, then that's the problem. Me saying that I've created a class is a solution, but there could be 50 other solutions that then also address that problem. So if I continue to look at the problem and look at the challenge that I'm trying to solve, then I can carry out a number of tests. So being able to work with an entrepreneur through mentorship and guiding them through the process of, this is your test, let's find out whether that's working. Are there customers who are willing to accept the solution that they're getting, holding them accountable towards them achieving the milestones that they need to get to actually get this product off, is where I tend to play a part. But there are various other mentors that people can connect with. You've got mentors that can help you with regards to the technical stuff of building your business. So it could be mentors who assist you with the technology, mentors who assist you on understanding the finances of your businesses, mentors who assist you with getting into market. There are three key things that most mentors should be able to do. That is, first and foremost, help you to understand what it is you're doing, and help an entrepreneur to get into almost like push and urge an entrepreneur to get better and to work harder and to do the things that they actually will help them to get the results that they. Two is opening doors for entrepreneurs, which is getting them towards other mentors, getting them towards customers that they could be trying to connect to. It could be somebody who started a business and you know the CEO of Zambia Sugar and you're able to connect them to that, or you know somebody within the industry that you can connect them to, which helps them to understand their business better, or helps them to get the first customers that they're trying to look to. The third thing is obvious with regards to them being able to get to catalyze the growth of their business, is whether you can connect them to places where they can actually raise the money that they're trying to, or the resources. It might not just be money, it might be other resources, the people they need to employ. It could be the access to the technologies they need to put up, or anything else that they need to be. So can you connect them to resources? Can you connect them to a network of other people that will help them to do that? And finally, can you help them build their capacity in the knowledge that they need to be able to build their business? Empathy is a strong one. You've got to have a strong feeling for the people that are around you. You've got to have a sense of visionary leadership. You've got to be able to see a clear picture of what the world could be with your solution, or what people's lives could be like with the solution that you're proposing, or with the change that you're trying to bring about. But also that it's being visionary that helps you to attract people to work with you. It's being visionary that helps you to attract investors who invest in the solution that you're getting to. I would also say grit, being able to knuckle down and work hard. Building startups is not easy. It's a lot of hard work. You're going to fail a lot of times on the journey. And that's something that you need to be able to have the grit to be able to wake up again and get back into the market. You're going to hear a lot of no's, whether it's investors, whether it's customers who are going to tell you they don't understand what you're doing, they don't know what you're doing, or it's not a place that they're investing in. Even customers who will be like, it doesn't address what it needs, but you've got to get back on your bicycle and ride out again to talking to customers, talking to investors, and talking to people. So those probably would be the key things that I tend to also look for voracious learners, people who don't give up on, who want to consume knowledge, whether it's through reading, getting into finding out what the trends are, reading research papers. The world changes at a rate that we don't take notice of, and I think we try to get comfortable that we're in a place called Zambia and it's moving at a certain pace. Like, no, we're actually affected by the changes in the world. I mean, like in the last 2 years, you could say the last 1 year and a half, the world is talking about artificial intelligence, and Zambia is not excluded from that conversation. So you need to be very, very keen on learning how those changes in the world affect you, affect the business, and affect the people that you're working with. So those are probably the 4 things that I would encourage people to develop in their leadership. So the simple saying is, if you kill the founder, you've killed the business. And so you've got to be able to look after yourself. If you're dead, the business stops growing. So mental wellness is something that I urge people to consider. And we're fortunate that we live in a time where we can have this conversation, whether it's the ability for people to go to seek help, whether it's counselors or trained professionals who can help people to think through the things that they're going on. Like I mentioned earlier, even I seek the help of a coach to talk through stuff that I'm going through, the stuff that I'm trying to work out. I can fall into a nasty habit of getting into a work zone which repeats itself over work, and I can ignore everything else around me whilst doing that, and so I'm very prone to burning myself out. So having someone else advise me to say, like, Simunza, slow down, take some rest, get some sleep, is something that sometimes I need to do. So, but then doing that means that I'm not operating at the best, at my best capacity, rather. And so with those considerations, I think there are a lot of other things that we need to consider. It's the impact that the relationships around us have on our lives. It's the things that you wake up. Failing is it's not something we talk about failure, but it's not like it's something that people would take easily, and you're going to feel terrible about it every single time that you do so. So being able to go through that, even loss is something that we experience, whether it's loss of people around us, whether it's loss within business, whether it's loss of everything that you have. It's how do you get through those moments? So to not take time to take a break, take time to seek help, take time to talk about things with somebody you can trust is something that, and if you don't know how to do it, that's why professionals exist that you can talk to. I would say talk to somebody, seek help. Don't be too proud to do so. I struggle with that. Currently, probably being, some people say it's not, well, I say being lazy is probably how I try to solve for that. As in, if I get home, I might just stay home and then come out 2 days later. So I don't really have a constructed way in which I relax, or I guess watching TV, if you can call it that. But I actually keep thinking that I really should find a constructive way to relax. Okay, great. I think if you're trying to build a startup, and when I say startup, I'm referring to high growth ventures. There are a couple of podcasts that you can listen to. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention the BongoHive podcast. That actually contextualizes a lot of what we do when we discuss podcasts, when we discuss startups, but also brings them down into an African perspective. So the first season was very much about Zambian businesses. The second season then took a broader look at how to build businesses in Africa. Then the Harvard Business Review has a great list for people who are in management or in leadership to think about things on strategy, leadership itself, considering what the plane is to what you're going to. You can always learn from that. Another podcast is How I Built This. So I tend to find myself being attracted to things, to trying to understand how and why people do things. So How I Built This by Guy Raz is a great podcast for learning how various business owners actually built the businesses and what they were going through, what they noticed, what they were looking at, and the process that they got through in the process of them building their businesses. Another podcast I'd look at is The Pitch. A great podcast if you want to listen to how entrepreneurs are approaching or having conversations with real investors. So you actually listen to real investors listening to a pitch, giving their analysis of what they think about it, what they think of the market opportunity, what they think about the valuation that the entrepreneur has come up with. You actually listen to almost like the behind the doors conversation that startups have, that investors have when they're considering a startup. So I would always recommend The Pitch, but also about listening to how people actually pitch the businesses. It's not like Shark Tank is a good show, but it has an entertainment value to it, which can then, I think, sometimes, in my opinion, misguide people. but I find that the pitch is almost clean and very straightforward as to what people are analyzing and what they're going through. There's no play between you come down, I go up, how much money am I going to put in? Is people would say whether they're investing or not investing, and they discuss that when the entrepreneur is not there. So that's why you get the behind the scenes conversation. Masters of Scale is a great podcast for thinking through the pieces that you need to think about. So what problem are you solving? What's the team you're building? What solution are you trying to build? And what are the different things that you're trying to put together when building a company? And it does a very good take on analyzing various startups that we know around the world, and that's something that would be great. That's another great podcast to consider. With regards to books, as a business leader, especially if you're starting with your first startup, The Hard Thing About Hard Things is a good book to read. It almost lets you know the things that you're going to encounter and how you might get to experience them. If you're starting a business and you unfortunately have someone on your team that is not fitting in or is not performing, firing somebody for the first time is not easy. Or having that conversation, but it guides you through things like that. Dealing with co-founders. Co-founders are human beings. You're going to have differences. You're not always going to get along. But there are also going to be points where you might be going through the stress together and the things that you need to think about if the business takes you through stress. So it's those kind of things that The Hard Things About Hard Things helps you to think about and to consider as you're taking the journey into entrepreneurship. You're talking about building an investment-worthy startup. So an investment-worthy startup is a startup that investors will consider. This is very great for the African context, written by an African angel investor, Tommy Davis. So that's another book that I would definitely recommend. It helps you to think through the vision that you're creating, the proposition that you're offering, the organization that you're trying to get into, the economics of the business that you're trying to build, and the milestones that you need to achieve in being able to do that. It helps almost create a plan that you can also articulate with the people that you're talking to when doing that. Then the Startup Owner's Manual is another one. So a lot of books that I'm recommending are almost like how-to books. And that's what I think a lot of people need to know. I'm unfortunately haven't read any motivational books in probably 20, 30 years because I always struggled with the idea of hearing I can do it, but nobody telling me how I can do it. I prefer to learn how I can do it. And so that's why I keep going back and to looking. So for example, a book that I'm reading right now is, I'm reading two books, a book on systems, helping you to develop processes and to think through processes, and a book that I would recommend for entrepreneurs, businesses, all kinds of businesses. When you think about it, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with having people work on the team and you not having to micromanage everything. You've got to get to that place where, as an entrepreneur, you've got the right people on the team who can do the work that they need to do, but also how do you teach them what they need to do so that you don't have to always be micromanaging and getting into whatever it is that they're trying to do, but then also, and that's by creating processes. So a good book for people to read on that is E-Myth, the E-Myth. And so that's one that I would recommend a lot of entrepreneurs to read. But a book that I'm currently reading, again, trying to become a better mentor, is it's called Mentoring Entrepreneurs. So again, I'm just revising I think you can never, I don't think you can ever be perfect. So it's always good to get back to a place where you can learn and revise and get new tools in your mind that help you to help other people, especially if you're helping other people. You've got to figure out how you can help them to get better and always think about what they could be. And so even though I've mentored before and I've read books on mentoring, I'm rereading a new book on mentoring. So that's what I'm currently doing.